remember this car. I'd always jump the fuck out of San Francisco with that thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide. The Cobra is like, nobody picks the Cobra. Don't pick the
so
Cobra
hard to
because
control.
It's so much faster than everybody else's shit.
But it tops out real quick though.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's really uncontrollable.
We're live though.
Are we?
We are.
We're not live, but like.
Oh, we're recording.
We're recording.
Yeah.
We're all here. So
Shit, look up the cheat codes on your phone real quick for Test Drive 5.
It's good that Cam decided to turn the volume off because it would be really interruptive if the game was playing with volume.
What if it was just very quiet? I play the Gran Turismo 2 menu music.
It looks really good. It sounds really good.
It looks really good. Oh, do you like the ending that I do with the outrun music?
No, that's terrible.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, thank you.
Cam got real offended for a minute.
I was sad. I really, a lot of podcasters don't care what their fans think. Podcasters.
Hey, remember that time you said you had all the cars unlocked in Test Drive 5? I have it unlocked too. Remember?
So we're here with Cam from Cammedandclutched.
Talking shit.
We're recording the podcast and we're making a video. So
yeah.
You're either gonna listen to one or both of them, I guess. I don't know. Either way, we don't have Chris today because he had to go watch his kid, and we don't have Mikey because Mikey is still in St. Louis. We don't have Tristan either.
No,
because he's looking at his phone.
Because I'm stupid.
Doing all the
no, because I asked Tristan to look at his phone because I asked him to look up the
cheat codes.
Yeah.
ABAC A.
Okay.
BB.
Well, wait. You have to get a high score somewhere.
We're playing Test Drive 5. In case everyone's curious.
I'll do a single race real quick.
Yeah, do a single race.
And this is going to be an interesting podcast because I don't know if we're actually going to get.
Spaghetti.
I don't think we're going to get anything really done. Like we're not going to have any real discussions.
Yeah, we are.
We are. All right. Well, we'll start with a recap of what happened today because we had the Cammedandclutched rally today.
Yeah, it was great.
We had let's see, 6 people total.
Yeah, we had me, we had you, we had Chris, we had
Tristan,
and Donald, and we had your buddy Pete, right?
Yeah.
So we had a Mystic Cobra, which is Cam's. What year is that thing?
96.
96 Mystic Cobra. We had do the E30 because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's an E30 with a S52 in it.
What year is that thing?
It's like a 91 or a 92.
91 325 convertible.
That thing is loud, man.
Tristan had his vape mobile.
Yep, the Scuba-Roo.
The Subi.
I put strawberry flavored in it.
He did. He was blowing it down through we were driving through the park and he was just blowing that shit out the window, getting all the animals high on vape.
Yeah.
And then
just hit the button.
He injected 3 whole marijuanas before we went out.
And then Chris brought Milo's Porsche,
car.
which is obviously his now, the 996 Turbo. And then Donald brought out his, I want to say, 94 Corvette, which is his winter beater in Ohio, which is hilarious because, as we know, the Corvette is a light rear-wheel drive V8 powered car, but Donald gives no fucks and fears nothing in the world.
Yeah.
So why not have it as a?
It's balanced though. Like I know it's apples and oranges because a Corvette's much more powerful than a 944, but I drove my 944 in the winter. Anytime I cuss, by the way, it's because I'm playing Test Drive 5.
Are you using the Celine?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm using the Celine. It's the closest thing to my car.
In the game.
You're the worst car in the game.
Oh, all right, fair enough. I'm the worst car in Test Drive 5.
Yeah, let it be known that Rick Deacon is the worst car in Test Drive 5.
So we did the rally. Let's see. We started at a parking lot. We hung out for a bit. We waited for some people.
Yeah.
Some people end up not showing up, which is totally cool because, to be honest, we planned it 1 week in advance, and it was based on the idea that, hey, let's all hang out. And then we said, wait, why don't we make this a thing that everyone can come do and not just some of us, right?
Yeah.
So we said, if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. Why don't you give us a rundown of the fucking route while I play this game?
Okay. So we went through some. What's really cool is I live really, really close to Cuyahoga Valley National Park. So there were a lot of really cool roads that we got to go through. We got to go through Sand Run Metro Park, which has that little area you go through with the
ford. We forded the river. We didn't pay the Indian.
It's like
Native American.
You have died of dysentery.
Exactly.
There's 2 inches of water, but it's fun to go through.
It is.
Awesome.
And it came up out of nowhere in the sense of you weren't expecting it. Is this thing in manual and then does it
It's
shift?
automatic mode. It's quick race.
Oh my god! Why is it doing such a burnout?
Because
if you sit on the gas all the way before the race starts instead of getting on the gas after the race starts.
So is this Crowd Simulator?
What?
Mustang Crowd Simulator?
It's Unfunny Joke Simulator.
That's
tired dead.
I'm not simulating it. I'm actually doing it.
Joke.
Go to jail. Man, you suck at this game.
I'm
You're
drifting.
terrible.
I am drifting.
I was doing better power slides than that.
Fuck yeah, you were.
Yeah.
You're way better.
I wasn't even paying
Rick, you're
attention.
fucking awful at this game.
So
Are you just having like penis envy because you drive a Mustang and you're like, how can I fix this?
So we went through San Run Metro Park. That's not a road you can go down, sweetheart.
I think
we
we
went
through.
through-
Though.
Oh, this guy's broken down.
Yeah, it's because somebody else hit. Oh yeah, you should hit him too. That's a good thing.
Oh God, a cop.
Oh, you got busted. You're about to get busted, son.
Wow, you didn't even make it to the first checkpoint.
Man, you ran out of time, son.
I'm gonna open up the PlayStation and I'm gonna break the disc in half.
Yeah.
Here, Tristan.
Let Tristan
Okay.
play. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a high score so that we can put a code in so we can unlock all of the cars.
Wait, you have to get a high score to do that?
To unlock
Isn't
all
any score a high score because this is a new game? Or
Yeah,
does it load
exactly.
data?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
How do I?
Forded
You
the
have to-
river.
we forded the river. We did Yellow Creek Road, which is one of my favorite driving roads of all time. I'm so fortunate to live near Yellow Creek. And then we switched cars a couple times, so I actually got to drive Tristan's WRX, which is a blast, and I got to drive Chris's and formerly your 996 Turbo, which I love that car.
I was wondering, have you driven one before? A turbo?
No, I've driven a C4S.
Okay.
I haven't driven a Turbo. Recommending 996 Turbos. That's been my go-to recommended Porsche to people for years.
Well, I mean, I think that they're still the deal right now.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
Chris got a deal on that because I gave it to him for relatively, not cheap, of course, but like less than what I should have paid for it. I wish I had him pay for it. And I loved that car. I still do. Every time I see it, I'm like, dang, it's nice. I love the way it sounds. I drive so nicely. It's easy to drive. Like
I usually don't like flat black cars, but I like that one. I dig the Momo steering wheel.
I put that sheet in there.
Because I have the same prototypo wheel for my 911, and I had that wheel in my 944 when I had it.
I think everybody's got their prototypical. I mean, it's a weird setup in the sense of like you don't see many 996s with
You got
prototypos.
I know it's
Like you don't normally see 996s with prototypos, but I was like, all right, I'll put it in anyway.
checkpoint.
But we did the
Yeah,
route. We
it's a
kept it at a
shortcut.
nice pace. We didn't do any like insane speeds.
Yeah, we really didn't
rip it.
haul ass through. I mean, for one thing, we were always behind traffic, but like even when it opened up, I don't think we went crazy. We didn't do anything I think
No.
would get us in serious trouble.
Oh, no. Just
I-
want to go out and have fun.
On the
really.
same note of Cam talking about driving everyone else's shit, I drove the Cobra and so did Tristan.
So I want to hear your opinion of my 1996 Mystic Cobra. So my 1996 Mystic Cobra, fairly stock. It's got a short shifter, Flowmasters,
Reverse delete.
reverse. Delete.
Yeah,
It's got
Rick can't drive the Mustang.
T40. Well, no, nobody can drive the Mustang. I mean, I've had I had a friend that would say first time driving stick every time I try to back out of his driveway because it would always either grind going into gear or have trouble going into reverse.
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Vanilla
honestly.
Ice wrote about it. I shift to first, then back to reverse in his rolling in my 5.0 video.
Really?
Yep.
That's funny. See, my 5.0 had
Okay,
an AOD, so I did the 1D1 shuffle. Are you familiar?
Mhm.
I didn't even make it, man.
You guys are fucking amateurs.
Well, maybe
You
you
are
should
familiar
fucking
with the
do it.
1D1 shuffle?
What?
Well, if people are not familiar, are you familiar with the 1D1 shuffle and the Ford AOD trans, the automatic?
I never had a Ford with an AOD.
Well, no, I know, but so the 1D1 shuffle is like basically, you know how in a car with multiple gears, even in automatic, it'll let you go drive 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
So the AOD only went one drive. I
My
believe.
Taurus was like that. It would just go D and then
Yeah.
D1.
So in
yeah.
order to get, if you wanted to shift it manually for like drag racing, you had to go 1, drive 1, and that would put it in second. So it would basically force it into
I
second.
never
gear.
did that before.
It's quick too. It's like a quick one.
But I
first
didn't have my
gear,
Taurus
drive
long enough
first.
until the transmission died, actually.
This isn't my shit on the screen, the Mustang.
It is your shit.
That's
Piece
a
of poop on the
GT.
screen. Not the Mustang. I meant the actual poop. This turned childish.
Yeah, it really did.
That's
Like, there's better Mustang jokes you can
Stop.
make, and you have
No,
not
that
made
wasn't about the
this.
Mustang. I was actually trying to say there was poop on the screen, and then I realized I was insulting your car.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
what are you driving? The TVR
No,
trying
This
various
is an Aston
rears.
Martin.
I'm driving the Aston Martin Vantage because that was always my shit when I was a kid. That was my favorite car
Or
to
maybe you
drive
should
for some
like
reason.
play the game properly.
No, we don't need to do things like that. I
So,
don't even know where we left. Oh, you want to hear what I think of the Cobra? And
Yeah,
then
I do. I want to
Tristan
hear
can
your
give his.
opinion of the Cobra, and I want to hear, and then I'll give my opinion of Tristan's
All right, sweet.
WRX.
You can give your opinion of my Mercedes you didn't drive.
The Mercedes is a nice car. You were talking about it like it's a total piece of shit.
It's not
and
a total piece of shit.
it's
but
really-
it's
the
certainly
interior's
boring
really
and just-
nice.
Yeah, it's clean.
It's not that boring because it's an older Mercedes, which are inherently kind of cool. I mean,
True.
those
Oh,
cars
yeah.
are
It'll probably
kind of...
get cooler as time goes
Oh
on, right?
shit!
It's an auto
Oh, man.
automatic though. That was a sweet. That was some realistic physics there.
Wait, you know some your not in last for a second or two.
So
I'm still not in last.
I drove the Cobra, right, and it was in the middle of the roads. I actually drove for quite a bit because you drove Chris's 996.
Yeah, I did drive the 996 for quite a bit.
So the joke about the reverse was that at one point we needed to turn around because we went down a road that wasn't a road.
That was my fault,
No
admittedly.
no worries at all. And then tried to get in reverse and it was just grind, and I assume it's because the short shifter makes it difficult.
No, it's actually been it was like that. The short shifter I thought would take care of it. I changed the transmission fluid. It's just inherent to the character of the car that just has a tough time going in reverse. And it seems like a lot of worn, because my car's not worn out by any stretch. I think you guys would agree. My car's a pretty nice example.
Not at all.
How many miles are actually on it? I
said
can't...
71.
72. It just turned 72.5. We'll call it 72.5. Oh, man, I got pulled over by police.
Fucking policeman hosing.
Aston Martin lives matter.
Oh, now I have to delete the whole podcast.
I wasn't getting at anything by that. I was just saying, the police. I was being topical.
All right, so reviewing the Mustang.
Yes.
So just to be clear, I have driven Mustangs before. I had a 950. Not the same by any means, but I had one. I think the car drove really nicely. I love the way the exhaust sounds. I love how simple and old Mustang interiors are, and overall, I felt it was decently quick. It felt very torquey, of course, V8, and I haven't driven a V8 car in a while, to be honest. So it's been like that's what a V8 feels like.
Yeah.
And then the thing that got me was the only two things I felt were weird is at some point I went over a bump, and I felt like the suspension did this.
Yeah, it does that. Actually, I commented on it because I was.
Kind of
there's few things more surreal than watching someone else drive your car when you're in a car behind your car. So I was trying to kind of give a video review of Tristan's WRX while I was driving my own Mustang, while he was driving my Mustang and I was driving his WRX.
Yeah.
And it was so surreal, and I was laughing at one point because I saw the axle hop. I saw the rear axle kind of shift from side to side.
Is that normal?
It's been like that ever since I've had. I think that's just inherent to a solid rear axle.
That's what I was thinking. It's a solid rear, so that's what it does. So that's kind of what I assumed. That felt weird, but it didn't feel bad. It just felt like I was going a steady throttle at 20, and it felt like I actually got loose, and I was like, I didn't give it any gas. I did do a burnout, though, real quick.
It's,
through the Ford.
No.
Okay.
What did you just type?
Oh, you're not doing
No, how do I get the code?
Yeah, you have to get a high score and then enter R1 as your name. Unlock all hidden cars.
R1?
R-O-N-E.
Kind of genius. Pitch shifter. We're singing along here. We are singing along.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me...
What'd you think?
I haven't... And the thing is, like I was saying earlier, that's an old car now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's 20 years old.
It's so hard to believe. Because that's got everything, realistically, that has everything I would ever want out of a car.
Yeah.
I was joking that it had lighted vanity mirrors. You know what I mean? When we were driving.
But it does.
It does. It has lighted vanity mirrors on both sides. I don't know why driver and passenger need lighted vanity mirrors, but it's got them. It's got an inflatable lumbar support. It's got CD and cassette. 460 watts.
But it was
megawatts.
I liked the short shifter. I liked how I forgot how direct and notchy those transmissions feel.
Well, that's too. I think part of that
that's
too.
That's just direct because I think that pretty much directly mounts onto the transmission, right? There's not much linkage there to numb the feel up.
Yeah, exactly.
And the short shift kit also adds something in that. I did the bushings. We did.
I replaced. Most people don't, but I replaced shift bushings. I actually put silicone rubber gaskets to isolate the handle from the shifter base and the shifter base to the transmission, just to keep the noise level inside the car at a reasonable level.
Okay.
Because I still really enjoy that car. An excuse that I can make for the fact that that's not as fast as an SLP Firehawk or a Z28 of the same generation is that my car is a lot more civilized and a lot nicer to live with. Which, when you drive my car, you're like, how could it get any worse than this? But if you've driven a 4th gen F-body, it does get worse. It gets a lot worse. So,
well, what about the 4th gen F-body makes it bad? I have driven them. I don't remember it being bad. Not that I'm not saying your car was bad either, but I don't remember.
They're a lot more hardcore. They're noisier. They're less comfortable. The interiors are... So the interior of the SN95 is really compromised because they wanted to kill off the Mustang after the Fox body, and they had to redesign it on the cheap. So it's like when you take silly putty and take a picture out of the newspaper, like an imprint of it, and then stretch it out. That's kind of what they had to do for the SN95. So the ergonomics of that car aren't the best. You have to reach for everything.
Right.
And it's not like air-cooled 911 ergonomics bad, but it's definitely a different kind of bad.
Let's relax now.
No, like air-cooled. Okay, so air-cooled.
I like being able to reach across the cabin to turn the radio on.
Yeah. So what I always say is the best thing about an air-cooled 911 is that it fits everybody. And the worst thing about an air-cooled 911 is that it fits everybody. It's not comfortable for any one particular person, but it's not quite uncomfortable either.
Right.
And I definitely think the Mustang, the SN95 Mustang, isn't really uncomfortable for any particular person, but it's also not particularly well set up. So I just think the interior is a little bit nicer in the SN95 Mustang, a little bit more livable, and oh crap, I got pulled over by the police.
I would agree with you in the sense of it was really nice. Everything felt nice. I actually commented while I was driving it to the video that there was lumbar support, and that was like impressive to me that it worked, because every time I get in the car with lumbar support, I feel like it actually doesn't do anything except hurt my back.
Yeah,
but it felt good in your car.
What sucks is that I was using no, it still worked, but I didn't condition the leather this year, and the leather's actually I'm gonna have to get it re-dyed where the lumbar support is.
Mm-hmm.
But the interior's in really good shape. One of the things I really liked about the car is that it was overall in very good condition when I bought it.
How much did you buy it for, if you don't mind?
$8,000.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
That's a really good price. I bought it in 2011 with 64,000 on the odometer and more or less a full service history, and all receipts. And it had a big gouge, not a big gouge, but it had a gouge that. Okay, so when your car is damaged, you have a ding or any defect in the paint. It feels to you like it's like huge
ruined.
and super noticeable,
like
and it feels like your whole car is
set
ruined.
the car on fire. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know
Like,
start over.
Like Tristan,
insurance fraud.
You were trying to show me that thing on your rear bumper, and I was like, I barely noticed it.
Yeah, it's like, and then now if I'm walking up to the back of the car, it's the first thing I look at.
Oh yeah, and it makes you
like,
feel horrible.
Like I wanted to hire somebody to come set my car on fire so I could get the insurance money out of it or
all
something.
the time.
So this sounds really what? This is like really gross, but like my ex-girlfriend was wearing like a low-cut dress and picked up a kitten that I have that has now passed away. It was the kitten that passed away.
Aww.
And it clawed her kind of a little bit in the boob, and it wasn't like even noticeable, but she made a big deal about it. And like every time like we'd have sex or whatever, like I would totally notice like the tiny little scratch.
That, right?
Yeah, well the last podcast I was a guest on, it's their most downloaded episode.
Oh.
Over a Jalopnik editor, and it's because I mentioned
boobs.
No, I told a story about my first sexual experience. That was
So basically, all of our listeners are just going like, "All right, I wonder what that's like."
Yeah. All six of our listeners are like, "Wait a minute, I can't wait for that.
Can't wait to become a man."
More or less.
So
like,
let me see what else whatever you want to be, you know. But back to the Mustang, it was like,
yeah.
I forgot what it's like driving an older car like that.
That, and admittedly, even though it's
going from my car, it's a very big difference. Like the seating, like I mean, I can see now that they did design that interior on the cheap because of the sitting. You're sitting like up high in the car.
Yeah, it felt very weird. It felt like getting into a tractor after driving your car. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And the car's a bit has a bit bouncy. And I did feel some of that little hip shake or whatever that you're talking about.
That was weird. I went around a curve and like I hit a bump and it was just like it went side to side and I was like, I feel like I just got loose. But that's not what happened even
going 20 at lower speeds, you still feel some body roll was present. Like,
and what's bizarre is that being the SVT, the front end of the car is very tight. You don't get a lot of cowl shake. You don't get a lot of flex in the front end. You've got that nice 4-point strut bar tying everything together up front.
Mm.
And
I feel like the springs are a bit too soft in that car.
Yeah, I have
it'll tilt.
Well, it had some
pretty
interesting body roll as well.
Yeah,
that's because it's old. I mean, there's also
I have Steeda Sport Springs, and I want to put I definitely want to put like some Coney's on it. I think I'm probably just going to go with Coney Streets. I don't really need adjustability on that car.
You didn't hit the cop car.
You're supposed to hit the cop car?
Yeah,
that's extra points.
Yeah, because he stopped you, man.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, you just hit him. Speak, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Tristan said, and I think it drove overall very well. I don't have any particular like super novel things to say. The thing is that after I drove it for 5 minutes, I actually felt like, as weird as it is to say, I felt like it was my car in the sense of I was comfortable in it, driving it. It felt good. I was driving it like as if I was just like, hey, I own this car, and it's a car I drive every day.
Fucking Snoop Dogg's driving around.
No, it was a super.
Well, for me, honestly, the thing I had the most trouble was the clutch. the clutch doesn't engage until like the very
Just a
last,
very long throw.
the very last 2 inches of the pedal travel.
The
Like,
clutch
your
in
knees
that car
right
is
here.
intense. So I bought that
It's
car
like,
in.
It's not heavy, but it's just long. I'm like driving it. I'm like, when's this thing gonna grab? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I did that a couple times.
So I bought that
Yeah.
car.
You can hear it.
I bought that car in December of 2011, February 3rd of 2012, I think. I remember the date because I was really concerned about it. I had heart surgery where they actually went in through my femoral arteries in my legs. So that's a main artery in your body. So if the sutures burst, I would bleed out pretty quick.
This
So
is a really strange story.
I know
So
exactly
couldn't-
where it's going.
Yeah, I couldn't drive that car for months. I would just stare at it for months until I got better. It got better enough to drive it. Because even after the weather got nice, I couldn't drive it right away. And that
They
ate
went
me
into his
alive.
left leg. Through his left
Oh,
leg.
so
They went in through my left and
putting
right
a lot
leg,
of pressure. You could, if that bursts,
Dude,
you'll
that
bleed
sounds
out
so
real quick.
painful.
It wasn't as painful as like open heart surgery. Like if you talk to somebody that's like had their rib cage opened for like open heart surgery, it's like okay,
Are you gonna live, Cam?
hopefully,
Or are you gonna die
just a little
someday?
while. I know that's why I bought all my dream cars.
Just in case you don't.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I don't like where this podcast
Cage
is
run.
going.
It doesn't matter. I get to live the
It doesn't
life.
matter. I'm just waiting for him like to pull out a pack of cigarettes and just light up in here. It's like, it doesn't matter.
I
Anyways.
used to smoke for kind of very reason. I used to smoke as like a very passive aggressive like like
self-hatred.
yeah, like you're like
Yep, I know that feeling.
when you're like an edgy like kid shopping at Hot Topic, you'll cut yourself or whatever. You have like you'll have marks from cutting, and it's like you didn't actually intend to hurt yourself.
No.
But it's like when you're smoking a cigarette. Like I remember reading.
I don't think
something
you have
that
much
was
of a choice though, because you certainly are killing your lungs.
every
You can't
pack
like
of,
not actually hurt yourself.
every pack of cigarettes I read shortens your life by 216 minutes. So that would be in my head every time I smoke a cigarette.
Holy fuck.
You know what I mean? I'd be like, here's
216
20
minutes is significant.
here's 20 minutes of this bullshit that I'm not gonna have to worry about.
Oh my god.
So it's like I don't know.
Fucking Moscow.
You're gonna go to Moscow? Putin?
Russia.
I love Sydney. Sydney's my favorite track in this game. We're playing Test Drive 5 on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I mentioned Test Drive 5, but I didn't mention the system.
Why is all this shit locked, Cam? You suck.
I don't know.
San Francisco is
Anyway,
locked.
so you drove my car for a bit.
Yeah, let's hear about the
What did you actually think of it, other than it's stupid?
No, I
That's
don't mean
stupid,
stupid. I don't mean stupid.
I don't know. I think my car's stupid.
So here's the thing. I've driven a couple of WRXs of that generation. Almost all of them have been tuned. And the way I always feel about it is like they're just fun. They're just fun cars. There's a dichotomy in their personality between this is a kid's car because it's loud, it's kind of uncomfortable. The interior is kind of basic. It's not
Yeah.
bad, but
Very
it's
basic.
like whereas a lot of Japanese manufacturers started going up market, Subaru just kept doing the same thing. So all the materials are nice. You never feel like you're in a cheap car, but it's not trying.
It's
to
not
be
a nice
luxurious.
car.
Yeah,
It's not cheap, but it's not nice.
it's a well built car. It's
Yeah.
I would still call
Tristan,
it. a nice
I
car.
wouldn't. You downplay your car quite a bit.
Yeah,
You're talking
I
about a
really
car
like
that
that
a
thing.
lot of people really, really, really want. And
And
we
I-
only
I-
make fun of you for owning it because we have to make fun of you. If you owned a Ferrari, we'd make fun of you.
What the fuck was going on
That
there? Did you
was-
see that glitching out like that? Shit?
Marijuana's a drug.
What was that? What happened?
I don't know. I think
I know.
he injected too many marijuanas.
I injected marijuana in the Nissan Skyline I'm driving. I feel like I'm not going very fast.
Why did you pick the fucking Dryerlint periwinkle colored Skyline for this?
Because
game?
this is what I wanted, man.
All right, I'm
This is
sorry.
what he wants
for shit-
IRL.
for shit talking. So
Why is this thing tacking out but not shifting?
I don't know. I think the controllers.
you've
It's
got
a
to
bit
be in
fucky.
contact with that. Just
like
put
a
your hands
slight
right
bounce.
over my crotch, and you have a clear shot of the infrared.
Perfect.
You just want me to put my hand near your crotch.
Duh. So I really, really loved the WRX. It's a fun car. The boost is right in a range in the power band where you can use it all of the time whenever you want.
But I mean, some people say there's a good amount of lag, and they say it doesn't the turbo doesn't spool till higher.
I honestly think if that happens to you in that car, then you're not driving it properly.
Right, and you just gotta be what is going on?
I'm no great
I
driver.
like that we're also videotaping this so you can see Tristan and I looking like a monkey with the fucking
Oh yeah, I
controller,
forgot about that.
like a gorilla.
What is going on with this car?
It's your red hair.
I just have the corded controller if you want to plug the corded controller in. Do you
I
want
don't
to
know why we didn't start with that.
Yeah, I
What
thought we were
the-
going to play 2-player, but I think it's a better idea that we're passing the controller back and forth like we're in the 5th grade.
It
So,
kind
yeah,
of is.
I had a riot with that car. The shift feels great. It's just a little bit notchy, you know
Did
what
you
I mean?
punch it?
Yeah, I got on a little bit. It
Right.
was fun. I mean, I don't like abusing other people's cars.
Oh, I'm using.
I beat the shit out of my car all the time.
So-
I don't know. I'd beat the shit out of it, but I
Here,
drive it.
Restart it. Plug the real car.
I
in.
have
like
I have
how-
fun with it.
I like how he said that. Like, I beat the shit out of it, and I said I beat the shit out of your car. I didn't though. There was like 3 opportunities to actually put my foot into the gas, and that was really it. Only when we went to the Ford, though, I slowed down in second gear, and I did burn out through the Ford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you actually do that?
Yeah.
But
you guys were ahead of me.
I think I got video.
I slowed down.
I think I got video of me doing of all of us going through the Ford, and especially like that would have been sweet getting like
all these noises you're making are being picked up so well in the microphone, Tristan. Why don't you throw shit around some more?
Why don't you just shut your mouth?
Shut your ass.
Why don't you just shit on your own head?
So yeah, I really love the WRX. It's the kind of car that I really want to get before.
You should buy mine next year.
And what I mean by that is that when you start modifying them, the ride gets a little rough. They get loud. They get very loud.
Way less reliable.
Way less reliable. So it's a fun car that you can use every day.
Yeah,
it's a practical car you can use every day. The seats are really comfortable but really supportive. What I like about the Subaru is it's one step below interior-wise what I would say like Mazda was doing with like the Mazda 2 or like Toyota was doing with the FRS. Or the Scion FRS,
have you driven an
where
Evo?
Your car overall is nice enough. Whereas with like the Mazda 2 and the FRS, the interior is, some of the materials are kind of cheap, but they hold up well, and everything you touch feels really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So your seats are really nice, your steering wheel's really nice, the shift knob feels really nice. That stuff really matters, whether you want to admit it or not.
It does over time.
Well, that's the details that you end up touching and feeling without paying attention to.
Yeah, so it's like your perception of the car is really determined by that.
Well,
so
that's also the same sort of, it's the same idea that we just talked about, which is if it has one flaw, then you notice it, whereas no one else does. The same thing, it's like, it's the minor details in the interior that pick it out to you. Like, if you have to touch, for example, you get in my 924, the interior is perfect, but if you fucking touch the vent, the shit's all, like, wobbly and old and, like, broken. But, like, so that little thing pisses me off. But it's, like, realistically, I'm going to touch that once a week maybe at most. Because once it's in position, I don't need to touch it. But it still is just, like, the quality of whatever it is.
There's, on my BMW, there's, on the driver's side door vent, there's one, he changed the color of the Skyline because we talk shit. Did you notice that?
Now it's plum crazy.
I wanted it plum crazy. Oh, that's so much better. It's not, like, a janky now.
Yeah. So
maybe we can actually do like a race, man.
Yeah, for sure. So there's one, like the topmost vent doesn't move with the other vents for some reason. Like when you move them up and down, change the angle of them. So I make sure the angle is perfectly aligned with that one because I never want to look.
Well, I have this weird OCD. I was gonna say ODC. I was gonna the OCD of like vents need to be in the right position.
Oh yeah.
And like if they're not in use and it's
whoa,
not time
drift
to use
bro,
them,
drift
they
bro,
need to like be closed.
DK.
Jesus
Danky
Christ.
Kang. Who is Danky Kang?
Who's Danky Kang?
No step.
No step on snack.
No step on snack.
Yeah, it's funny like you mentioned that. Like
Russian.
with the Mazda 2, they've got the 2 round vents right over the radio, so I would change the angle of them to make a face sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like I really like the WRX. It's a fun car. It's a super fun car. I don't know why I haven't owned one yet.
It's everyone's like, okay, so if you listen to other podcasts or if you just like see anything at all with recommending cars, if someone says, I want a fun car that's multi-season, semi-fast, not that expensive, relatively easy to maintain, or any of those, a mixture of those, the answer's always WRX.
Yeah.
If you want like a roadster, it's always Miata, but for anything else, it's always WRX.
Well, what's funny is that Brad and Jason don't like the WRX or the STI very much. And
why?
We had
why is that?
Well, I'm getting to that. So we had Bozy
why is it?
Tatarovich on from The Truth About Cars. Who's one of the few people that write for that website that's not a fucking dumpster fire.
The people themselves are dumpster fires?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
I've never met a dumpster fire person before.
Like they melt their keyboards constantly because of the heat from them being on fire shit heaps all the time.
Shit happens, right?
So, anyway.
I'm driving the shit on this guy.
See, I don't care about talking shit because, like, Brad and Jason are nice guys.
Plus,
I'm not saying they necessarily.
To our podcast.
Yeah, no one listens to this.
Brad and Jason don't agree with me on everything. I've said some mean things about Jalopnik. I've said some mean things now about Truth About Cars. Like, I don't have a vested interest in automotive journalism. So I really don't have to worry about what bridges that I burn.
Yeah, I do like a lot of Jalopnik's articles. Just some of the authors I just go, oh god.
Oh no, like Torchinsky and Steph Schrader can do absolutely no wrong in my book.
Have you heard that every BMW engine is a big piece of shit?
Yeah, did you hear
that? My god, I loved reading that article because those are all of the people that buys parts from my company because they don't know how to maintain a car properly.
That guy pisses me off more than anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That and honestly, just for some reason, I hate nicknames that are self-given.
Oh yeah, that's pretty gross.
If you're a pilot, yeah, if you're like a fighter pilot, sure, that's cool. But if you're just some fucking guy,
Tristan,
I mean, technically,
what would your
Tristan,
fighter pilot name be?
expired chicken.
I was just gonna say though,
That takes a long time to say.
that
It's got to
does
be
not-
like one word. It's got to be something that can cut glass.
That doesn't make
Dirk
logical
Diggler.
sense though, Tristan, because you and I are born from the internet, and as that, you name yourself on the internet.
Yeah, but that's different. That in a different way. But if you just put that name in there, that's fine.
Like,
But
I think like
your
your call sign would be like shit dick. I need you shit dick. Shit dick. I need support. I got a MiG on my tail. And it's like shit dick incoming.
Ooh, that was a nice turn. Look at that.
Yeah, that was a good turn. You're good.
I'm
at this
driving the
game.
fuck out of this
If this was
Skyline.
Forza,
dude.
I would have said nice turn.
It was a perfect turn,
Perfect turn.
motherfucker.
You're right.
Don't be just saying good turn. I'm
What the hell were we talking about before I started
Call sign.
talking
Anything.
websites?
I had a question about
Oh,
have you
yeah.
driven the Evo before? Because you're talking about WRX. Have you driven an Evo? Like,
I have
Evo
not.
10 or 9 or 8?
I have not driven an Evo.
Okay. I was just
I-
curious because
I
that's a
haven't
different
either.
interior experience than
Yeah,
I'd like to
WRX.
drive an Evo. I just don't know of many. I don't know, like
Driving Chris's
whenever-
isn't indicative of her car.
I
because that car is
know.
not a car anymore; it's a race car.
Yeah, and
So in order to get
I
it
never.
going, you have to rev it at 3,000.
Oh no! What I was
RPM
talking
and
I
about
never
what people
asked.
think about the WRXs. So like Brad and Jason, they're a little older than me, and they don't like the WRX anymore,
no
and I totally
way.
get it. Like the WRX is very much like a kid's car. It's very much like my first performance car, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all.
Right.
But like I'm at a point in my
It's
life
too
where
expensive
I've
to be
owned.
someone's first person.
Dude, with financing these days, I mean, base you can get out the door with a
Kids
base
can't
model
finance.
Kids can definitely finance.
for for
Since
120
when?
months.
No
and
credit is better than bad
and
credit.
15%. Fuck off, cop.
This is like real life.
I'm just jumping a Scott.
This is like me driving down my hills in my
This is
neighborhood.
fucking
He ate shit.
Oh god, fuck
Anyway,
yeah.
Cam, what were you saying?
Oh, so what I was saying was, it's very much like a my first performance car. Like when you can buy your first nice car,
Right.
but you can only you have enough money to buy a new car, and you have enough money to buy a performance car, but also has to do everything.
Yeah, and
that
you
WR
want a warranty.
That's the
and,
answer. That's why it's the answer.
And honestly, like even with everything I've said about the interior and how basic it is and stuff, a WRX is still going to be nicer than most of the junk that you've been driving. So
Yeah.
I absolutely recommend it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really want a WRX as a daily
Should buy mine next year in
before
spring.
I'm too old for it.
Mhm.
Should-
And what I mean by that is I'm getting really acclimated to the 530i. It's just like a comfortable. It's kind of an old man car. It's got power. It handles really well, but it's
Well,
definitely
fuck.
an old man car.
Cam, for the people who have never listened to Cam to Tub, which
Everybody's
if they listen to our podcast, they probably have listened to yours.
Right.
But just in case they haven't, why don't you give us like
Look at 'em.
30 seconds about who you are? Because we never did that, and this is like halfway.
So I've been a car enthusiast since I was a kid. My first memory is a car show, and I learned to read by learning what the nameplates meant compared to
Way
like
better
what the
with that
symbols
control.
were on the backs of cars. So I've been a car guy like since I was a kid. Like the Mystic Cobra is the car I wanted when I was 8.
Okay.
My holy trinity growing up was a 911, a Mystic Cobra, and a Countach.
Not the
so-
F40.
Fuck no. I
What?
love the F40 though, but
I was gonna say, are you serious?
I was a Testarossa guy
It
before I
didn't-
knew about the F40.
it didn't make it into the F40. I knew I was supposed to like the Testarossa, but I always thought the F40 was better looking. And then when I found out the 288 GTO was a thing,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a hot one too.
Saw a
But
bunch
I'm
of
really-
those.
I'm
That
really not a
Ultra Burnham.
Ferrari guy. Like I'm a big
talking about
Porsche
fucking
guy.
Countach. Countach is such a pile of shit.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but they're
all of those
attractive.
supercars.
They're interesting cars. They're interesting the cars to look at. The thing that gets me about Ferraris, Lamborghinis, at least in that era, existed to out Ferrari. And the Ferrari is very much like your rich playboy, look how much money I have car, whereas a Porsche, you could point at specific things or mention specific things about the car where it's like, oh, this was, bred from racing experience. Like the 915 gearbox is kind of agricultural, but it's rugged, and it's got a quick change fifth gear, and it was used on the 908 race car at Le Mans. Oh, my car has Bosch Matronic fuel injection. They tested it at Le Mans and finished 1, 2, 3. So it's like that kind of thing. Rick fucking sucks at driving.
He's
That's
bad
a
at this
whisper.
game. He's slow, man.
Honestly, these games are hard to play now
Yeah, they
because you're
actually
so
are.
used to simulation games.
Because these are the handling is fucking cartoony in these games, you know.
But yeah, so I've been a car guy since forever. I've had about 20 cars. My first car was a '78 Mustang II.
No wonder.
and
you
then I
talk
went
about
into-
Mustang 2s like they're good.
And then I went into MGs and then RX-7s, and I've been all over the place. I've had a lot of different stuff. Should I do like a
For
car
a
history?
Wanglehead?
Kind of. I like RX-7s. I like rotaries. I like the fact that they exist and that they're different. It bothers me when people swap other engines into RX-7s or rotary-powered cars because it's like, listen, every other car in the world has a piston engine in. Let this car have its one special stupid thing. So.
All right. Well, then, as a guest, this is something we haven't done before, but I want to do it because I heard it somewhere else.
Okay.
What is your 7th car? In the sense of like, if you had money was everything, and you bought your first 6 already, you already know what the first 6 are. You bought them. What is your 7th car? Like you took care of all your duties. You got one that does family hauling. If you
so
need
it'd basically
that.
be like the cars I own now, exactly as I want them.
Like in perfect
less.
shape or whatever.
Yeah. And then like my 7th car, I would honestly say a Wagon Masters Grand Wagoneer.
Wow.
I would call up Wagon Masters and I'd have them rebuild me a Grand Wagoneer. There would be nothing cooler to me than pulling up at a Porsche event halfway across the country with my 911 as like a street track car. Like, I'm not a pussy, but like I don't mind driving cars that are uncomfortable, but I would not want to drive my 911 cross country when it's built, finally finished the way I want it finished.
Right,
it's just not going to be a very comfortable car to drive for hours and hours and hours at a time. So the idea of a Grand Wagoneer, perfectly restored, basically a new car, in the same color as my 911 with wood on it, towing my maroon 911 would be the coolest thing in the world to me.
Okay, that's fair.
That's like
so
my
Wagon
second car
Masters
was a
is
Jeep.
the company that
Restores them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So they're like the Singer, except for
well, they don't change them. They
Okay.
they really they keep them pretty true.
They're
I
just
mean,
the
they built those cars
restoration.
up to 91, 92, so that really falls into. I really genuinely believe that for 90% of people that are more involved in the driving experience than typical people that are concerned with infotainment and stuff, that a car from the mid 90s, like a nice car from the mid 90s, has just about everything you would really want in a car as far as amenities, and then everything that was nice. You just got hit by a cop and spun like a
Cops
top.
just fucking wrecking you. Yeah, cops smoking
Pushing him out of the way. Fuck him.
Fuck that's a Subaru cop car. He's vaping.
exactly. And
So,
you
chucking
get in an
clouds,
accident.
man.
Every time people wreck in Test Drive 5, they just start vaping
They just start
immediately.
They just start vaping. They're just like, oh man, I'm so worked up. Gotta get my vape
That was
out.
that was a decent corner. I wouldn't call that a nice corner, but that was decent. So, what was I saying? Oh, about the Wagon Masters cars or the Grand Wagoneers, 90s cars. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I've had a little bit to drink. Really, like anything that a new or an older car doesn't handle, like a car from that era, there's easy solutions for. A nav you've got on your phone. You can get a tape with a wire or even like a Bluetooth cassette.
Yeah, but the
and
tape
listen to
with the
whatever you
wire
want.
that's shitty, dude. Like
I
I've done that
rented-
before. It sucks.
I rented a
It's not that
2004
bad. It's terrible.
2005 Audi with Get Around, which is that thing you can just rent a car by the hour in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was a 2005 or 2006 actually, and it had a
Alright.
fucking cassette player.
You gotta keep the throttle
Yeah,
pinned.
first gen minis you could actually order with a cassette player as a no cost option.
It was so stupid, and it had a sticker, like not a sticker. I'm sorry, not a sticker. I'm talking about a sticker. It had a cassette player with the fucking rope hanging out of it, so it would do aux input.
Yeah.
Fucking coppers, man.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me because honestly, like when you're on the highway with road noise and stuff,
Oh, he's vaping now.
See,
how did he overheat? He didn't even hit anything. He just
bought-
stopped in the middle of the road.
Like, who the
Okay.
fuck designs this game and goes, okay, after the cop stops you, they'll just stop and smoke will come
They're
out
fucked.
the live.
They
Like,
wouldn't if that happened in real life, they wouldn't write speeding tickets because that would be so expensive. Oh, you're fucked now. He went sideways.
He was waiting for you.
Went over his ass.
It's hard to get those 3 jumps down, dude. Like
Mhm.
legit.
I did it on purpose. I braked and went
Well, because we
sideways.
don't have the analog controller, we have the
Yeah,
old school.
the D-pad.
So you have to tap the D-pad a bunch of times in a row to
Mhm.
turn
Look
the
at
way
this
you want to
Volvo
turn.
wagon.
I think it was like a Yugo.
Fuck off, this Volvo wagon.
See,
Alright.
and this is another car. I know Tristan's thinking about it, but this is another
Don't
car.
think about it anymore.
What?
Don't think about it anymore.
R33s.
R32s.
Oh, R32s. This is an R33.
Oh yeah.
See, R33s, I never really liked the styling of until recently. They started to grow on me. I
Mhm.
think what's funny is that I never thought people would be nostalgic for the 90s. I went all in with 80s nostalgia when it was a thing, you know? And then now 90s nostalgia is becoming a thing, and what's making it popular, much like 80s nostalgia, I was born in 88. I definitely think that, like, what we consider the 80s happened between about 78 and 92. Like, culturally, the idea of the 1980s
Mhm.
kind of extended a little bit beyond. But it was really embraced by a lot of people who never lived it in the first place and just have, like, a cartoony idea of what the 80s was. And now kids that, like, don't even remember 9/11, they're teaching 9/11 as history in schools this year. That's fucked up.
I can't believe that.
Because
That's
I was
crazy.
in middle school when
Same.
it happened in history class
Yeah.
when I learned about it.
I got in first.
Yeah, well, I did.
Well, you're the only
I
person
was like a minute faster.
I got first.
So, now 90s nostalgia is a thing, and we're actually separated enough from the 1990s that we can actually be nostalgic about aspects of it. And as a result of that, cars like my Mystic Cobra, cars like the R33 Skyline, I can appreciate the rounded 90s styling of those cars.
Everyone keeps trying to tell me, not people personally telling me, but more along the lines of like, people are saying like, oh, the next car that's going to go up in value is the fucking 300ZX Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
I like those.
I wish I could like them.
They're nice cars, but I think they're going to be cheap for a little longer. I don't think they're ever going to be super expensive.
Yeah, but that's another car I've always.
Oh, you know what? These are all unlocked. I did unlock all of these.
Oh,
The
man.
cars you can't get are like the ones that
I remember this now because this is an LS6, and at the time I was like, LS6, hell yeah.
The only difference between the LS5 and LS6 is cast iron versus.
Yeah, I know. Same with the ZL1.
I got to drive a 70 Chevelle LS5 convertible. That was fucking cool.
Wow.
Yeah, the ZL1.
Hell yeah.
This is my favorite car. I forgot it was
which-
in this game. Holy shit, this is my favorite car ever.
Really?
Yeah, there's only 3 of them.
Okay, so what's your favorite car ever? You alright there?
It's a big question.
You fucking
No, but I was
spaghetti
actually
dude. You
gonna-
broke him. Now
I was
we have to
gonna
get
ask.
interest in.
I was gonna ask. Like, it seems like General Motors flipped that shit around though, because the ZL1 used to be top tier like prototype type of shit,
Mhm.
right? Correct.
Still is.
And Z28 was the
Oh,
stripped
they
down.
flipped that, yeah.
Yeah, they.
I
Flipped
mean, the
that with
ZL1
Camaro.
didn't exist for like many, many years. They just
I know.
finally brought it back. And they made 70 ZL1 Camaros. And this is very unrealistic because this car has 650 horsepower and that Corvette has...
And you're in automatic mode. You're
Yeah,
in manual.
Yeah, you weren't shifting.
I
You
didn't realize
dingus.
Peter ran it. Look at that 13.4. You're
I'm doing
slow.
that again.
Yeah, do that again. You suck.
Slow dick.
Y'all can suck my...
Launch it at like
Hey, listen, I know how to launch a car.
in Trust Drive 5.
In Trust Drive.
Trust
Drive.
Wasted.
I already talked about your girlfriend's boobs. No more chest drives.
Trust Drive.
What the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking
Something.
about we were talking about 1990s cars. We were talking
that's
about
right. Yeah,
Oh,
300ZX.
our 7th car. I like the idea though of the 7th car. I think that my 7th car would be a Wagon Masters.
Hell yeah, now we're in business here.
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
This is a 650 horsepower car.
You're hauling ass. I thought there were only 2 of those. You said there were only 3.
There's 3.
Wow.
They're all yellow with a black stripe. They were my favorite car for the longest time. Still are. I have like 7 models of them because I love them so much.
Like that's
So do you have like okay? So I guess we should say like I already told you what my Holy Trinity was: 911 3.2. Lamborghini.
Are we talking about like
Countach
as a kid or
5000
now?
S. In general, I really haven't changed my
See, I
Holy
have,
Trinity.
So
So I guess you can do both.
Camaro's the other one too.
I mean, it's your podcast. You tell me what to do.
I
just
don't
think it'd be
know,
interesting
honestly.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
have.
like
There's
that
so
idea.
much. Like
thinking about stuff.
There's so many things you think about that you just can't do but thinking.
What was the? You know what we never discussed at the restaurant is like your stupid bike, your motorcycle that you would be like, oh, you know, our motorcycle's kosher on Clutchkick.
A little bit. Rick hates it.
No, I don't hate it. It's just that half the time it turns into fucking clutch grab podcast.
So okay, so my idea of like a stupid bike would be a bike that like you like that you would be really happy to own, but you'd be kind of embarrassed.
Oh, right.
to be
You
seen
asked
riding.
Donald.
So,
Well, no,
like,
let's go back to the 3 Holy Trinity thing. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm down with that. I just needed to think about it for a minute. And I don't mind that we're doing that. It's a perfectly good idea. If this car runs faster than the Corvette, I'm going to poop on your couch.
what is it? 69 Z28.
ZL1.
ZL1.
It went faster than the
So
Corvette.
69 Camaros.
Right, a little bit.
There's actually 69 there's 69 and a half Camaros and
Yeah.
70 and a half Camaros because they made 69 Camaros for like 14 months of production. They made them so long.
That's because everyone loved them.
Yeah, so like 70 Camaros are actually really rare. I think we were talking about this when you were on, is that I like really early second gen Camaros
Oh, yeah.
and really late second gen Camaros and then the
Because I
mid
talked about
ones.
my 81.
Fuck yeah.
So my Holy Trinity for cars, I guess, and when I was younger, I'll go with that because I can remember it, and now it's a harder question, honestly. Mine one was a McLaren F1.
Okay.
I wanted a McLaren F1 more than I wanted like to live. I would have traded my...
Oh yeah, I mean you're a
Right.
90s kid too, right? I think we're all
I was
90s.
born in
kids.
86.
Yeah.
So the McLaren F1 was one. The other one was honestly any Corvette at the time. So even like a C5
Yeah.
was what I wanted because I was really into Corvettes. And then I think actually the Testarossa was after that because I really liked the Testarossa.
Yeah. So you're more of a Testarossa guy than an F40 guy.
No, I love the F40 more. I just don't think I knew it existed then. For some
Okay,
reason,
yeah.
it was just not something that was in my radar. I don't know why.
Ferraris, like as a kid, I never really got them, but like I knew a lot about them. Same with Corvettes. So like, for me, it was a big deal because Enzo Ferrari died the year I was born, and the year I was born he came out with the F40.
That's a big deal.
And then the F50 came out when I was,
See,
still pretty young.
The
and I
F50
was like,
I
oh
used
man,
to love. You know what?
what's
That's actually what it was.
What's the F60 gonna be?
Yeah.
And it ended up being the Enzo.
Yeah.
I hated the Enzo for like
still hate the
4
Enzo.
years
I
until I
like
saw
the car.
one.
I like the
Until
Enzo.
I saw one in a color that wasn't red. When I saw a white one, like a pearl white one, I was like, "Fuck, that's not a. It's an interesting looking car."
And
The
who
thing
knew
is-
that we'd get super creative and call the next one Ferrari, the Ferrari.
The Ferrari. Like, I feel like it's somewhat hypocritical of me to say,
I
"Oh,
want to get more water.
I freaking love the Countach because you have to have an opinion on it. It forces you to have an opinion."
Yeah, it does.
And then
I can see that.
and then hate the the Enzo for the same reason. I just think the Countach is a much more interesting car visually to look at, especially from like an overhead view.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of angles, sharp edges.
Yeah. Countach I never liked because I felt like it was too dramatic.
I like
Hopefully
see
the
that.
podcast
That's
heard
why
me.
I like it though. Is you have to have an opinion on it.
Mm.
It's kind of like the Lou Reed of cars. Even though I don't like Lou Reed,
That's your opinion, man.
but exactly, yeah, that's my opinion. Which is it? R1
Why
or
were you
R2?
doing a burnout? It's L1 or R1 rather. Nice shift. This is a 14-second, 700 horsepower car. Like every fucking Supra in the world.
I
Every
want to.
every Supra's got 1,200 horsepower, and 12s or 10s.
Are they really? That's
What's
low.
funny-
The joke is they don't get traction though. It's
Oh.
super hard to. Every fucking 1,000 horsepower Supra runs like 10s or 11s. It's weird.
What's funny is that in like 1997.
Oh
there
my
was
God,
there it
there it
is.
is.
The ZL1.
Yeah.
That's the picture that everyone has because that's the only fucking picture practically.
There was a black Supra Targa. I don't even remember if it was NA or,
I like
or
Supras,
turbo.
man.
But it was like one of those things where I was a kid in like 97, 98, and I saw the tide turning towards SUVs, and I knew that car was special, and I knew I was never going to see anything like that again.
About the Supra, you felt like?
About the
I've
Supra,
rarely
back when
seen
they were
these
still
Supras.
new. Like, this was a new car that was available.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be like the last one that was ever.
Those were
It's weird.
expensive when they were new
They
too.
were.
How much were they?
I'm gonna need you to beat this Viper, or I'm gonna get angry.
Do I have to? Can I pick another car?
No, you're gonna need to beat it in that car.
I don't think I can beat it in the
You
Chevelle.
definitely need to beat that car.
I think we should
because-
change games. I think we should go to the Porsche game or something, or Gran Turismo. Put Gran
Whatever.
Turismo in, Tristan.
Why did I fucking?
All right, I'll put it in.
Good lord, Tristan.
it.
Biggest piece of shit ever.
All right, I'll put
I'm
it
a
in.
guest.
is a
This is
sentence.
how you treat guests in your homestead.
You're not a guest. You were a
So-
guest for the first 5 minutes.
But okay, so maybe I don't know, maybe 3. I still can't think of 3 cars like from when I was a kid that I
Can you think
don't
of at
know now.
least one?
Yeah, Shelby Cobra,
Well, that
Okay.
works.
67 AC Cobra, Shelby
Hell
Cobra.
yeah. Hell
Yeah,
bro.
I love those.
Hell
as a
yeah,
kid.
brother.
Number 2.
Too.
Did you guys ever collect those car cards as a kid?
Yeah.
Like the
They,
sheets?
they folded,
No,
and they
I'm
had
talking
like
about
the
the
5
sheets.
view.
Wait, like a full sheet.
And I
Or are
think
you talking about a car?
oh yeah, I mean obviously McLaren F1 as well. I wanted, and then
Cam, I need
Nissan
you to
Skyline.
clarify.
What's that?
Were you talking about the sheets?
They fit in a 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had 5 views of the
Dude,
car,
I
and they
used to have
folded up.
hundreds of those. And then one day, I went on eBay and looked how much they were selling for, and people were buying them for like $5 each.
Yeah.
oh,
I made like $400, and I was like 11.
Oh man, I have a Lego set upstairs. The one that I said big money Lego sets. I have
Yeah.
one that I bought for $50 when I was in college, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna build this with my girlfriend. I never got around to building it,
You never got around to getting a girlfriend.
and I looked at it like recently because I
Wow.
was gonna open the box and build it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a $300 Lego set now.
Not gonna open it now.
Mm-mm.
oh god, I remember seeing this loading screen
Okay,
so many times.
So,
as a
question.
child.
This is an important
This
question
game
for car
made
guys.
me
This
love
is
cars.
my
This game allowed me to learn about other
favorite.
cars I didn't know about
Oh
that
yeah,
we didn't have
that's-
here
I
in the
mean,
US.
because it wasn't here.
This game, still today, I still want an
So,
R32
just-
Skyline.
Just gut instinct. Hot Wheels, opened or closed? Opened or in package?
When I keep them in the package now because it's easier to store them that way.
Yeah.
That
like,
was
I have
not a gut
hundreds
answer.
of them.
That was like 2 sentences. I need yes or no.
Yes, package.
Or package or out.
Yeah.
Package, okay. See,
Especially now that they have paintings of the cars, like on
I
the
went
package.
opposite direction. I have boxes of in container stuff at my mom's house, and now when I get Hot Wheels in San Francisco, I just open them, put them on the desk. I went opposite.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Are
Dude,
we gonna
I
race or are we
haven't
gonna do
played
time
this.
trails?
Time Trills?
Time
Time
trails.
trails.
Wasted, man.
You gotta go to the fucking.
Oh my god,
Hey,
this
I can
game.
drive this vet.
Oh yeah, you can. Did you just get a boner?
I did. There's a Mustang SVT Cobra. Oh shit, RX-7.
Oh shit, Evo's fucking 6.
That's my shit right there.
We saw one in Monterey, right?
Well, yeah, but there's someone who has one in Cleveland. Our
Oh,
buddy.
really?
Yeah, he's a friend of Chris and I.
These are legal to bring in now, right? Or no?
Not quite
No,
25 years.
I don't think so.
I forgot what year this 6 was.
Yeah, it is.
So his name is Mike, and he also has a Focus, or he has an Escort RS, the real rally car that he built piece by piece that we never got here.
Is it brown or
Oh
white?
shit!
It's white.
I think I went autocrossing with that guy once. Has he had it for a while?
Yeah. It's very fast. It has anti-lag. It shoots fire.
Fuck yeah!
And it fucking pops like a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time
I've
we change
autocrossed.
gears.
It's white. And he's got a GTR, and he's also got an Evo 6.
Jeez.
Cam, opinions on the GTR, new Nissan GTR?
The new Nissan GTR.
I'm just curious because people
I
know our opinion.
I can't get excited about that car.
Same. That's pretty much what it is. It's not a bad car.
It's not a bad car.
It's engineered
It's just-
well. It's fast. It's just not exciting.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like a few years ago, when I would be at a party and I would be introduced as the car guy, because I was the passionate car enthusiast.
Damn, I was never introduced as a car guy to anyone.
Maybe
Anyway,
you're
it's-
just
I
not
know, I
that
just
good.
didn't go
Maybe
to
you're not that
any
good
parties.
at it.
It's probably because you're a much more interesting person. Like you're a much more.
No, I think I didn't go to parties.
Okay. So I would be introduced and somebody would be like, if somebody said, "Oh man, I love the GTR" or "I love the Veyron," I knew that I could just ignore everything else that person
Yeah.
said, and I didn't care about their opinion.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
read like 2 articles on MSN or the Wall Street Journal or some bullshit, and like they just have nothing.
And yeah, the people that just like it because the Veyron's the fastest car in the world.
Because
It's
the
like,
numbers, it's got the best numbers. If I
Yeah,
put the
but-
numbers of this car,
but-
if I tear out the magazine spec sheet and put it next to this other magazine spec sheet, this is a better car because the numbers are higher.
Right, but
I'm a Porsche guy. Numbers never really mattered to me all that
yeah,
much.
like, and actually, my one buddy, he likes cars, but he's not super knowledgeable. But he's like, so rear wheel drive. How do they keep grip in the rear tires with that thing going on the track? I'm like,
How do they shot web?
like
That's why I shot
he
web.
asked kind of a goofy question. I'm like,
Old memes.
what do you mean? Like
Fucking big wings.
They
man.
engineered the shit out of it, and it works. Like it's a goofy setup. Not a lot of other, many other cars are rear engine, rear wheel drive, but it works for them. It works very, very well, and they've taken that concept and they've just evolved it over time.
Well, at first Porsche they looked at him like, wait, you guys are fucking nuts for trying to
Oh,
raise
yeah.
a rear engine, rear wheel drive car.
And then it was the only it was the only car based on a street car to win Le Mans overall in the modern
Yeah,
era,
exactly.
the 935.
Mm-hmm.
And then those guys went to jail for trafficking marijuanas.
I didn't
Injected
know that.
all of them.
They injected
I did not know
marijuana.
They gave
What?
all the marijuanas to people to inject.
Who did that?
Who did that? Porsche?
No, the guys that were racing.
Just Porsche as a company all went to jail.
They're
for
just
dealing
drug
drugs.
trafficking. Just
the Randy Lanier and stuff. It was just one of those things where it's like, it was South Florida, I got fucking money, I want to get money, I want to race. They actually used the backstretch of, they owned Road Atlanta, and they used the backstretch of Road Atlanta to land the plane to bring pot into the country.
Wow.
And then he went to federal prison for a bunch of years because the worst, I don't even smoke, I just gotta say, I don't even smoke pot, I don't do drugs.
I mean,
But I definitely think our prison system is way too clogged up with fucking people that,
yeah.
when again, like, I think the impotent rage over the Brock Turner case is like, I mean, obviously the idea of raping somebody is terrible, but the impotent rage over it is fucking hilarious to me because I always get upset, or I always get hilarious. I always laugh and think it's hilarious when people get upset over things they have absolutely no say over. But the idea that a rapist goes to jail for 3 months and a fucking somebody who sells pot
Oh, yeah, exactly.
goes to jail for fucking 15, 20
Yeah.
years. I don't watch a lot of sports, but I watch a lot of the ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries because I think that sports are an interesting sociocultural thermometer. Like, you can tell a lot about a culture by, like, our culture at least, by, like, how we pay attention to sports and what happens in sports. And when that basketball prospect, Len Bias, died in 86 of a coke overdose, and they passed all of those laws, because he was in Maryland, so he was right outside of D.C.,
Yeah.
and they passed all those laws, and all the people those laws hurt, those, like, zero-tolerance drug trafficking laws.
Mm.
Like, drugs are bad. It's terrible to do drugs, but I honestly don't see somebody who sells pot or traffics in pot as a threat the same way that I see somebody who is a sexual predator or somebody who's a murderer.
Or someone who sells hard drugs, even. There's a difference between
Yeah.
weed and other things. So.
What's tough now is that we have the whole reason we have, like, a heroin epidemic is because people got addicted to opiate painkillers.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, where do you
Yeah,
draw the
Ultimate
line
Drug
between
Kick
hard
podcast.
drugs and I don't know?
It's the drug cast.
Drug kick podcast.
Kicking drugs. Like, no big deal.
just kicking bales of marijuana.
Back to what we're actually talking about with the GTR was that I feel like it's the Ron Popeil rotisserie of cars. You set it and forget it. Remember those commercials?
Set it.
Yeah.
You basically get in the car
The
and
whole
put your
Coach
foot
Ultimate
down.
Grill.
Yeah, you put your foot
Yeah.
down,
No, that's what I call a pizza.
and then you go fast, and then that's
Set
it.
it and forget it.
The thing is that the one time I actually got to really drive one was when I was working for Infiniti. So they had all of the next gen. Because here's the thing: the Infiniti Q50 and the G37 were Skylines or
Yeah.
are Skylines.
Right.
It's just the non-GTR version of the Skyline.
Yep.
And so like an Infiniti G37S is the Skyline 370 GT in Japan.
Yep.
So, people would get really excited about the GTR, and I drove the GTR, and the first thing I noticed is this was a brand new car, and it was $100,000, but the build quality made it look very much like a Nissan, whereas Infinity's kind of tried to look upmarket.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the Infiniti had this really new fancy infotainment system. Not that I care about that kind of thing, but the GTR cost 3 times as much.
It adds
And it was
to
the
character of
previous
car.
gen infotainment systems that we were getting on lease turn-ins from 3 years ago.
Right.
And it's like, that right there is one of those things that nobody talks about. But as far as the actual driving experience, yeah, it's almost utterly passionless.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Utterly passionless.
And I've driven one, not extensively, but I have driven one.
I have not driven one yet.
I don't know. People were obsessed with them. It's like that one fucking video about those 7 car guys you meet by that funny YouTuber.
Yummy Noob, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
love that guy.
And he's
I don't
like,
like
and
that
he's
guy
like,
much.
for some reason, everybody on YouTube just wants a GTR. It's like the epitome of what car they should buy. And
Yeah,
if
because
they make it on YouTube,
it's
then
all people. It's like the Jalopnik commenter type of people that have never owned a nice car or
Right.
a fast car and don't understand why 911s are so expensive now.
right.
It's because
911s
it's-
are over, by the way.
oh yeah,
Air
because
cooled
Jalopnik,
911s are over.
because Jalopnik said so.
Yeah.
Because Jalopnik has to be
Air cooled-
contrarian.
Air
Gawker
cooled
Media
911s
has to be contrarian.
are not a thing anymore, man.
You can't even. They don't even make.
Here's
them.
the thing: is
Like they're gone. They blew them all up.
those they're not a thing anymore.
They send
don't
SWAT teams to blow
Yeah.
these cars up all across the world.
It's like some MK Ultra shit
And
that
then-
never existed in the first place.
Black helicopters swarming above
Fucking
your
Alex-
fucking air cooled
Fucking
forest.
Alex Jones is talking about.
You're gonna
Air
go to
cooled
your
911s.
garage in
17,
Michigan. It's not gonna be
76.
there at all. You're just gonna see 4 tires.
Yeah,
Something
it's just
was there,
fucking
but I
the
don't
whole
know
car's
what
just
it was.
vaporized.
Or they're not Fuchs though.
No, they are Fuchs, but they go on your 944 that you
So-
didn't realize you own.
Speaking,
That I didn't realize I own. Because
I
I don't
thought I
have
had
a 944.
I thought I had a 911, but I apparently have a 944 that these Fuchs
Oh,
go
I
on.
see. Get it. I get it.
The 911 was just a figment of my imagination. They would never build a performance car with.
I'm still tossing around this idea of that 944.
Thinking about it.
I found
Thinking
a
about it.
944 in a parking lot in Whole Foods. And
like
the
the
difference is,
944.
Tristan, is instead of just saying it, I actually called the guy. I test drove the car, and
Yeah.
I got all the records.
okay,
So he let me drive it, and he showed me the records. It needs to have the water pump, or not the water pump, the timing belt done. But
Have it done.
Which
how much is that going to cost to do?
$1,000.
That's not even that bad.
But he had talked him down for $4,200 to $2,900. It drove pretty well. The thing, a front suspension feels old, just feels like original. It had that same gas leak smell that my 924 has.
I think old Porsches just smell like that.
Well, for this particular case, the 924 and the 944, it's a vent tube that goes from the filler.
Right, and like I was
Okay.
saying, they just all smell like that.
Yeah, well, that's true. So it had that, and then it needed the timing belt. Other than that, it was a decent car. The clutch felt like really, really, really on-off. It felt like a switch. Like the bottom was like I could just go like this, nothing would happen, and then slowly towards the top, it would just like
That's
catch
that's
them.
not what a 944 clutch should feel like. I
No.
don't feel.
No, it was not at all.
And that's okay. 944 clutches and timing belts are the most expensive jobs you can do on a 944.
and that's the other reason I really don't think I want it. But I keep tossing it around because it's so cheap. I could almost just drive it, which I'm only gonna drive for 3 or 4 weeks during winter, and then drive it for 3 or 4 weeks during next summer, and then I could sell it. Like 8 weeks of driving it, and then sell it.
You'll put maybe like what?
You know what?
500 miles.
Yeah.
I said I was going to do that. I said I was going to do that with a motorcycle, and guess what? I still own that stupid fucking motorcycle. So,
Yeah.
and my girlfriend's asking where her fucking ring is.
Where is it?
I don't know. I got to sell the fucking motorcycle so I can buy her a goddamn engagement ring.
Which motorcycle you were selling?
The RX-50, the 50cc Yamaha.
Is it street
weird
legal?
thing. Yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
How much
it's
do you
super
want
cool.
for it?
Like $1,500
God.
bucks.
Don't get
I want
a big
fif-
four-stroke derby.
I want
insane.
$1,500. It's fun to ride. It's really an interesting feel. It's really weird.
Will you deliver it to North Ridgeville?
To North Ridgeville? Yeah, I'll fucking deliver it to North Ridgeville.
I have a trailer.
I have a trailer. I'll deliver it.
No, I have a trailer.
I'll bring a trailer.
Honestly, if you offer me any reasonable amount of money for that bike, it's yours.
Is it here?
No, it's at my parents'
What
house.
the
I'm gonna
fuck?
go see it. Do you want me to? I have a million pictures of it.
I would
send
like a
you.
few pictures. Yeah, maybe.
I can send you some really
I'm
detailed
gonna go
pictures.
off-roading with Chris in
So,
the BRZ.
It's not perfect, but what's cool is that it's a YSR50 power plant, and there's a million YSR50 parts, so you can do an
okay.
80cc conversion. So it's like a cruiser YSR50.
What's the top speed? 35.
About 40, and then if you put an 80cc kit on it, it'll still
it'll
do
faster
like
than that.
45.
So I had
50,
a
but it'll
I had a
cruise
Yamaha
comfortably.
Zuma 50cc scooter, and it had a big bore kit on it,
Yeah.
and that thing did 60.
What I need to do for it, what I'm in the process of doing, is getting registration from it through the state of Vermont, so I can get an Ohio title. So
Jesus
if you buy the bike, I'll actually
Get it done.
get that done for you. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll consider
Thinking
it.
about getting it done.
The only problem is I won't be here again until winter, and then I can't ride it.
You can stash it at my place, or I can take
Ride
it
it
to your
for me?
parent. I can ride it to your mom's house for
You
you,
can just ride it for me.
or I can just trailer it
You can
because
just
I have
ride
a
it.
trailer.
You can just ride it around.
Everything,
I'm not gonna ride it. I don't wanna
everything
ride it
works.
around.
Everything works. It needs
Whatever,
a new
Tristan,
battery.
You're the worst friend I've ever had.
So like once
Why do you want me to ride your bike around?
So it doesn't go bad.
It
I'll
starts on
start
the-
it and I'll keep it in good shape.
Do you
It's-
burn out with it?
It starts on the
I don't
first
know
or
if I
second
can do a burnout. I'll push it up against my garage wall, just put some water down,
I
some
want a
oil.
picture. I
and
want a
just
picture of you doing that.
whee!
It's honestly super fun to ride because like you know how
I'd
like
imagine.
a Sportster feels like a cramped cruiser.
Never ridden a Sportster.
Okay.
I don't want to ride a sport. Actually, no, I have. I've rode a XR 1200.
Okay, so you know how it feels kind of like a cramped cruiser bike.
Yeah, it feels kind of goofy and slow.
It feels a
heavy.
little bit more like that. Like it's like a 7/8 scale cruiser bike.
Okay. So
And
it's Babby's first cruiser then. is what it
Honestly,
is.
yeah, and it's a super fun, cool bike to ride. If I had the money and the space to keep both bikes, I would. I would actually use that one as my commuter back and forth to work.
Mhm.
But
How far do you have to go to work?
it's honestly like a 15-mile ride all back roads to work, 15, 20 miles, and it's not bad at all. It's just, it would be fun to do it with like a little 50cc bike, 50cc two-stroke. But
So
everything that's exclusive to that model, all the body stuff, is present and in good shape.
So if I were to buy it, then your girlfriend would get her ring?
Yeah.
So she would probably be very happy. if I
She'd
did
be
that.
really happy and she'd get her engagement ring. And then I could also pay. So this is really fucked up, but I bought the bike. Shortly after that, one of my cats had kidney failure because she was a runt and her kidneys were too small. She died. She was only 6.
That's terrible.
And I told my parents I would pay the vet bills. So it's basically $1,500 is the vet bills, my girlfriend's engagement ring.
Okay.
It's like not even me making money off of
So
it.
basically, at this point, if I don't do it, I'm an asshole.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
you
trying to
kinda
guilt
are.
trip you into buying the bike, but I'm definitely trying to guilt trip you into buying this bike. Well, here's the thing. The only one that's for sale on Cycle Trader right now is $3,000.
Fuck.
So
I don't know if they're that rare.
they're super rare because every dealership only got one
Well, I
as
wanna
like a
see some
raffle bike.
pictures.
So
Well, speaking of that, like we're at like an hour,
okay,
so that's about a podcast for us. We try to stick it an hour where you guys kind of just do whatever
all right.
off the cuff, fucking flop your
Well,
cock out.
I hope I was a decent guest. You know,
I think you were. What do you think, Tristan?
Shit.
We're missing half of our podcast.
Yeah.
But
Because Chris apparently had has this horrible thing called a child they had to go tend to.
holy shit.
And
that's terrible.
nah,
That's terrible.
I mean,
Mikey,
it's what happens.
Mikey
That's why
actually
you don't have
said he
kids,
couldn't
man.
because, of course,
Then
it's
you can do
different.
whatever you want.
He wouldn't be live, and he felt like he wasn't going to get the full experience if he wasn't live because he's in St. Louis.
No, because
Plus,
you can be like, well, Mikey, the Dodge Vipers, whoa.
well, also, it's his wife's birthday
Put my
today,
dick in the
and
lake
today
pipes.
is not Sunday. Normally we record on Sunday, so he's
Yeah.
like, oh, today's just not good, so it's fine. Just not going to read that out loud. And then,
no, definitely not. But you spell with the goofy characters.
Anyway, well, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for this
Sounds
hour,
very
basically
Italian.
sitting on Cam's couch. Cam was a great guest. Thanks
Nothing-
for hanging out, man.
It's great.
Oh, I want to touch your leg.
I'm not going to touch your leg.
I'm not going to shake your hand. I'm going to do this.
All right.
So they couldn't see it anyway.
Wang.
What are you doing?
I'm putting my name in. Oh, okay. I guess it's gonna be.
Just pranks with your friends.
Pranks with your friends.
Pranks
It's
with
just
your
a prank, bro.
So yeah, thanks for joining us, Cam, and then everyone go
Good,
rate and review us on
nice
iTunes.
Yeah.
Clutchkick podcast on Instagram, and you can see some more about the Camden Clutch rally that was today. I have a couple pictures. I didn't take many though.
No.
Yeah,
but
it's
have a
mostly
whole
video.
bunch
We're
of
gonna
pictures.
Actually, yeah, and I didn't even mention the fact we have a shitload of video to edit.
Video that's probably going to be seen online sometime around like July 2017.
Yeah, I was gonna
probably.
say maybe 1 year from now we'll have it edited. But
I
maybe not.
gotta say, all right. I love listening to the sound of my own voice. I love listening to the Camden Hub podcast. when I have time to listen to other podcasts, I also recommend the Clutchkick podcast.
No, thanks, man.
Thanks, bud.
That's
I
really
actually
sweet
hate
of you.
listening to the sound of my own voice. I'm
Yeah, me
definitely
too.
not listening to
I
this. Ooh,
can't.
there's a 328i. There's an
Yeah.
E46 in here, and I didn't drive it.
Oh my god.
Ask any E46 owner. It's the best fucking car ever made.
Is it?
Jesus Christ. No, ask any E30 or E36 M3 owner. Track day, bro. Track day, track car, race car, road race car.
Honestly, E36 M3 is my
Fuck.
favorite M3 because it's
I
the one you
agree.
can live with.
I agree. Mikey's like one of favorite cars ever. Granted, he's not on right now, but it's one of his favorites. Anyway, so Clutchkick Podcast on Instagram. Go rate and review us on iTunes. We don't do anything with Facebook hardly ever. Twitter's Clutchkick TV. Mikey's he's anxiously waiting for your tweet like a fucking one of the people that you call in and give money. Mikey's just sitting
Like
on
a
his
telethon
computer
person?
waiting for the
Telethon, there we go.
Yeah.
telethon. He's waiting for your
Good
tweet.
thing I'm here.
And then, next week we'll be back hopefully with the whole crew in the sense of Chris and Mikey will be back on. But either way, this was a blast. We had a blast on our rally. I'm glad we get to do it.
It was good, yeah.
And it was awesome hanging out with you, Cam.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed letting you guys drive my car.
Yeah, that was
It was weird. You
fun
know what it
time.
was like watching you in the Subaru and you were driving
And
my
I was
car?
watching
it was
you
like
in
a
the
swingers
rear.
thing. It was like, yeah, didn't it feel like being cucked? Like,
God.
I
I
mean,
needed,
I
I
was-
needed
I was
to end the
watching
podcast
somebody
30
else driving
seconds
my-
ago.
Yeah,
and
you
now
can
I feel-
end it now and just cut this shit off so nobody hears. It's just
No,
Brad
because
hates
I didn't say bye yet.
Brad is super liberal and he hates the word cuck. So anything that I'm on, I know he's going to listen to. So I just try to sneak it in there.
All
And
right,
there's
guys.
just no way
Thanks
to talk
for
about it
listening to
without
our
mentioning
podcast.
things that are deviant.
Thank God Cam ruined it for us. He
Yeah.
can say all of his bad stuff now because he's getting advertisers, so he does it on ours.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I'm going to still say it on ours. We're just going to be, stuck.
Worst
with
guess ever.
advertisers.
Stuck with the cuck.
Oh my God! All right,
Found
thanks,
the name of
guys.
your episode,
why,
guys.
why am I
I
drifting
am
this Delta
not-
DeGrale?
I am not naming the episode that.